Welcome to the U Lounge. This is your safe space for unfiltered conversations on weight loss and wellness. I'm Nicole McKee, weight loss coach and hypnotherapist.
And I'm Marianne Bell, weight loss coach and wellness mentor. We are both GLP-1 advocates, and together we've lost over 10.5 stone between us. And we're here to break the stigma around medical weight loss, share real experiences, and help you take back control of your health and wellness without judgment.
Each week, we'll bring you real talk on obesity, GLP-1 medications, lifestyle changes, exercise, psychology, and all the things that no one tells you about sustainable weight loss. There's no filters, no BS, just science, stories, strategies, and a little bit of sass that actually work for real women.
So if you're ready to rethink everything you've been told about weight loss, hit subscribe and join us inside the U Lounge.
Now let's get stuck into today's episode. Hello and welcome to episode 3 already of the U Lounge podcast. We are so excited to have you here because today's episode is all about debunking GLP-1 myths. I am your host, Nicole McKee, and
I'm Marianne Bell.
And we cannot wait to get stuck into this episode. So, Marianne, tell them, what are we doing today?
So we are going to chat through all of the GLP-1 myths that are going on out there. Some of them are a bit crazy. So yeah, let's go through them.
Yeah, let's dive in. Now, I have to say that when it comes to GLP-1s like Ozempic, Wegovy, Mounjaro, I have heard so much nonsense online, but also people are so outraged by it. Like they literally decide to be annoyed at anybody who's like lost weight or got skinny, right? But in terms of GLP-1 myths, one of the big things is everybody hears, oh, it's just an easy way out, it's just a quick fix, and oh, they've got too skinny, or it's unhealthy, or you're going to die of a thyroid cancer, or you're going to go blind, right? I'm saying all this with complete respect and empathy for anybody who's had an adverse effect with it. But I do want to bust some of these myths because it's not the same for everybody. And it's really important that we say that you can have a healthy and a good experience on these medications. And where we are never glorifying a prescribable product, we are only sharing our experience. Please always consult your healthcare professional for any health or prescribing related advice. But we are going to bust some of these myths because they deserve to be kicked in the butt. So, let's kick off. Marianne, what's our first myth? What myths do we want to bust first? Because there's loads of them.
Yeah, so first one is the one that annoys me the most.
Mm-hmm.
And it's GLP-1 is the easy way out.
Mm.
Oh, it really annoys, like, it's the easy way out part that bothers me. And I think like being on a GLP-1 makes it easier to lose weight for people who have struggled and people who have the disease of obesity, but it's not the easy way out. And I don't know, Nick, I've heard you talk about this on your Instagram as well, and I think you've got a slightly different view on it from me. But yeah.
Yeah, so obviously I like to put a cat amongst the pigeons and just ruffle a few feathers sometimes, right? So I put out a reel or a video or something to be like, yes, it's cheating. Yes, it is cheating. And the reason that I do that is because do I really think it's a cheat? No, because I've had to work my butt off to get the results that I've got in the way that I've got them, in the healthy, sustainable way that I've got them. But I do think that we live in an obesogenic society that is designed to keep us fat and sick. And we just have to look at the amount of advertising that's done for fast food. And you literally can't walk like 100 meters in a city centre without having some kind of fast, unhealthy food like stuffed in your face, right? Well, not literally, but marketing wise, right? So to me, I feel like it is a bit of a cheat code. It's like when you used to play Super Mario when you were younger and you used to like hit certain buttons to like open up different coins or like give you extra lives. Like to me, this has given me a lifeline. It feels like a cheat code to me. So, where I don't believe that it's cheating, or we can never say that there's anything cheating the disease of obesity, because if you've ever struggled with the disease of obesity, then you will know that you will do anything not to struggle with that disease. You will do anything at all in your power. And it doesn't mean that anything's cheating. What it means is that we are so desperate as human beings of being stuck in this continual cycle of shame and guilt and body loathing and lacking health that we're just so desperate to get out of it. And sometimes we need a ladder out of the ditch, right?
I, I I think the thing for me that the reason the term the easy way out bothers me is
Hmm.
because it puts a spin on it that you can literally take this medication and the weight will just fall off you.
Hmm.
Um, and I think that was always my kind of argument was that taking the GLP-1 absolutely helps and it
Hmm.
regulates your hormones and it's making your body do what it's meant to do. So yeah, the cheat code in terms of like f fixing all the broken wires
Yeah.
that's in our body. But in order to make sure that you're still losing weight, you're doing it in a sustainable way, you're maintaining muscle and things like that, you're still having to put work and effort in to eat healthy, balanced, nutritious foods, that you're still working out, you're hitting all of your goals and all that kind of thing. So I think by saying it's the easy way out, it just um lets people who haven't experienced it think that it is a magic wand. And I think that's why I'm like, oh, it's not the easy way out. It makes it easier, but surely we all deserve to be on a an even playing field.
And this is it, right? I mean, being in this space and talking about it openly, how many people do you know have said to you, it didn't work for me? Or um, I didn't lose any weight on it. Or I was on it for like 2 months and I put on 3 pounds or whatever, right? I don't believe that it just didn't work for people. My belief is that they didn't have the education and they didn't have the support to make it work for them. And
Yeah.
that's why I'm totally with you. It's not an easy way out. It's not a cheat because you have to put in real sustainable work and change change behaviors in order for this to be successful for you. So the GLP-1 gives you a bit of a platform, a bit of a leg up, right? But it will not do the work for you. It will not magically work unless, and this is the whole thing I always say, like the work doesn't work unless you do. If you're not doing the do, if you're not eating well, if you're not exercising, if you're not taking care of yourself emotionally and reducing your chronic stress responses, if you're not getting enough sleep, if you're not supplementing yourself where you need to be supplemented, then no, it's not going to work in the best way it's intended to work.
Yeah, and when you eventually get to the point where if you decide to come off of the medication, if you've not put all those building blocks in place,
Hmm.
you're more than likely going to spiral back to where you were before because you've not made those fundamental changes.
Yeah.
So I think that's definitely the key is making sure that you are using it as a tool to help you then put all of those changes in and think about maintenance now. Like what processes and support systems do you need to have in place to allow you to maintain either with or without GLP-1?
Yeah. And this is what we do in coaching as well, right? We always talk about this. Start with the end in mind. Like you want to start, and yeah, your goals might change, and yeah, I'm sure we've all set goal weights and they've changed or whatever, but you have to start with the end in mind. Where do you want to be? You have to visualize that version of you have to bring to life first. Like how does she live? What does she eat? How does she move her body? How does she feel about herself? How is her confidence levels? How is her sleep? How is everything that she feels and does and how does she work? And I think unless you're bringing that version of you to life, unless you're really having that in mind, like, and this is part of what we talk about is who do you have supporting you? Like, who do you have in your corner? Taking all the shame away from the medication, who do you have there to help? Because actually, you do need help on this journey. You need people to be there. You need people to support you and to cheer you on. Like, that's such a huge part of it. So, yeah, I am with you. So, it is
I was
not a
having
cheat
a little
code.
internal chuckle there, Nick, because some of the things that you've said there, you say in your hypnosis. If anybody listening hasn't done a Nicole hypnosis, I encourage you to do so. Um, but we're lucky that I'm still awake.
Yeah.
Nicole has a power over me that she just has to say a few lines and I'm
I mean, this is the joys of being a hypnotherapist, right? Do you know how many people in a day I have say to me, "Oh, I just listen to your voice and I fall asleep," and I'm like, "Oh, am I that boring?" But this means the
powerful.
hypnosis is working, right? So this is part of what we do in that. This is why it comes out so easily to me. And everything that I was rhyming off there is part of the best possible self. Like that's what I take clients through, and that's part of their weight loss journey is that we visualize them having lost the weight first because unless we do that, we can't truly tune in to where we're going
Yeah.
and having that aim and that goal, I think so important. But also, has anybody said to you that you're cheating or you're taking an easy way out or you're shortcutting it? Has anybody actually said that to you? Interested to hear.
No, so I have been pretty lucky, I guess. Like, no, I've not really had that conversation. And even on like my socials, I've really not had very many negative comments. I think I'm just too nice.
Yeah, you are. You're so nice.
I had my first troll the other day and I was quite excited by it.
I know, that's what I said to you. You know, you've made it when you get trolled, right? When you've annoyed someone so much that they feel that they have to go out of their way to say something derogatory to you. Um, yeah, you're doing something right. But
Yeah, but I've definitely seen it on like there was a Loose Woman episode that they were talking about it and it was brought up and they'd said it's the easy way out. So it is out there. I've definitely heard it. But we're all here to debunk that, aren't we?
do you not just think it's said by people who have never had obesity? So if you struggle with the obesity disease, you will never say that because you will know that actually we have to fight tooth and nail to get over that disease or to get through it or to live with it in a healthy body.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just said by people who don't struggle with obesity and it's so sad. Um, But we move on. Debunk that myth. No, it's not the easy way out, right? No, it's not a cheat, even though I say it's a cheat code, um, because it gave me a lifeline, like in the Super Mario game, right? Um,
I quite like that.
that's how I say it. Like I
Yeah.
believe it's a cheat code in society where they just want to keep you fat and sick.
Yeah.
Um,
So do you like walk along the streets now, like hopping like Super Mario or like Sonic, catching your
No,
rings?
no, I'm a Princess Peach.
Of
So
course.
I float. I don't know if you know that. I just float along, quick to my toadstools.
Love it.
Um, did you have any doubt? Okay, what's another myth we're gonna bust?
The next one is around nutrition and side effects.
Mm-hmm.
So, that being on the GLP-1, you don't need to make any changes. And I
Yes.
guess from a side effect point of view, it's the the scaremongering, isn't it? That you're going to be so sick, you're going to get every side effect going.
Yeah. Well, let's kick this off by what side effects did you have?
So the only side effects that I've had is like dodgy tummy. I've been sick, but every time that that has happened, I can absolutely relate it back to something that I've eaten. So
Hmm.
it's not the GLP-1 medication that is doing it. It's the slowing down of the digestion, the food sitting in my stomach. If I eat too late at night, that tends to be when I feel a little bit icky because the food's just still sitting there. Um, and
Yeah.
then I did get a little bit of the when I was on the higher doses, the skin sensitivity. Have
Hmm.
you heard about that one? Um, so I had that for a little while.
Explain that for our listeners who haven't heard about it.
So it's almost mine's was in my arm, and it almost feels a little bit like sunburn. So it was just my skin was quite sensitive to touch as I touched my arm. I don't have it anymore. But it didn't last for very long.
Hmm.
Um, and yeah, so it kind of just it's just a little bit tingly, a little bit like prickly heat almost.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Well, and I think so for me, side effects were like you say, like feeling overly nauseous, but I could always relate it back to I've probably overate.
Yeah.
Because even though you've got appetite suppression, the odd time where you are eating, you will eat a little bit more than normal.
Mm.
Um, and or maybe you're in a social setting and you're eating something different, or it's like really rich
Right.
foods that you don't normally eat. Or like for me, I remember eating pizza. Now, I don't normally eat pizza, but it was a family thing, and I ate one slice of pizza, and I literally felt, I remember saying, sorry for this turn of phrase, sorry, not sorry. It's literally sat in my colon like a brick. Like I could feel it, like just sat there. Um, and it's just because it's a high fat kind of greasy food, right? So we don't react very well to them when you're on a GLP-1 and that's all it is. But in terms of eating the same diet that you were eating before, I have a major issue with this. And I'm sick of seeing. So if you are someone who sits online and watches a what I eat in a day Mounjaro edition or what I eat in a day Ozempic edition, I've already spoke about this online, but I'm going to say it in here. I witnessed a grown woman eat, do a what I eat in the day, and she ate two hash browns and with one fried egg, and then she ate a bowl of pasta, right? I want to be really, really clear here. We are not and will not advocate for under eating. And when it comes to protein, unless you're getting, and you need to know here what your minimum requirements are to sustain your body for health and for weight loss. This depends on your age, your size, etc. Um, you need to be getting in your minimum protein requirements and you should be prioritizing protein. So please do not listen to all of this rubbish online about what I eat in a day Manjaro edition because it drives me absolutely wild. You are supplement if you're on a GLP-1 and you are supplementing and you are not, sorry, getting enough protein in your diet, you do realize that a GLP-1 is a peptide, and a peptide is it's a peptide hormone that comes from the building blocks of protein, which are amino acids. Like you need protein in order to sustain your hormones, to sustain your life, to sustain your lean body mass, which we know when we're in a weight loss phase, you're going to lose muscle as well as other things, right? We want to minimize the impact of that as much as we possibly can. So please don't listen to anybody who's telling you not to have very much protein in your diet or who's giving you a carb rich what I eat in the day. Like, that's not okay.
And what's your view? Because I quite often see these what I eat in a day, um, where it's like literally just full of like, protein shakes or the like literally everything that is labeled protein. They go to Aldi and pick up everything that has protein on it. Like, what's your view on those versus like real sources of protein, like chicken, etc., etc.?
I we always want a whole protein source, right? So by whole proteins, I mean things like chicken, fish, legumes, red meats. Like we want a whole, obviously red meat, we're bringing in fat, but we want a whole protein source. Um, if we're struggling to get volume in, which we very often are in a GLP-1, meaning we're not finishing what's on the plate, the more protein sources we can get on the plate, the better. So if we can be having, for example, and I know what ones you're talking about, like high protein noodles, right?
Yeah.
If we can be having our whole protein source plus a protein supplemented source plus vegetables, then generally we're going to get in a good amount of protein in the day, even if we're not finishing everything that's on our plate. I think supplementing with protein shakes when you're in a weight loss phase is definitely worthwhile. And depending what part of your journey you're at in terms of female health. So, for example, we know that your lean body mass declines significantly when we become over 30 and it continues to decline year on year, or decade on decade, however it is you're measuring it. So for me, in perimenopause, I need more protein to sustain my lean body mass right now than someone who's not in perimenopause, right? So I know my protein intake needs to be high, but I also know that because I'm not eating large volumes of things, that actually it really supports me to have protein fortified things.
Yeah.
So where I don't agree with them all the time, and I don't agree that, and this is where people aren't well educated sometimes, right? Is prioritizing protein doesn't mean that you get the protein noodles out of the supermarket and you just eat a pack of them. What we're looking at is getting your whole proteins in, like your meat, your fish, your chicken, um, tofu, anything like that. We want to make sure that we're prioritizing that each meal, but also we're looking for each eating opportunity to be a higher protein opportunity, which many people are doing, but they just don't do to maximize because they don't know, right?
Yeah. Um, and this, I'm going to stick on this because I think it is super interesting, and I know that a lot of people probably do think about how to get those protein sources in and things. What's your opinion on, do you track calories and weigh and measure and things like that, or not?
No. So I have, and anybody that works with me, this is exactly what I put into place. So I'm giving you an insight of my one-to-one coaching here. I put into place what I call repeat meals. So tracking for me is extremely triggering and damaging, and that used to trigger binges for me. So any kind of diet rigidity for me triggers or used to trigger a binge or an emotional response of restriction. And I would go like all out. So I don't track. I do weigh some foods. So I weigh foods that I know you are likely to overeat on.
Mm,
So, for example, peanut butter.
mm,
I'll swear blind that it's a 20 gram portion. Then when I weigh it out, it's like 50 grams, right? And I've absolutely annihilated my calorie deficit. Or pasta. I'm really easily led by loads of carbohydrates and I love pasta. So I will pile loads on the plate. So I make sure I weigh that or just anything that you can overeat on. However, I the repeat meals has been such a game changer for me. So because you lose your cravings on GLP-1, but you also lose the ability to what I call like food fancies. So I never
Hmm.
really fancy a food. I'm just
Yeah.
like eating for function, which is a huge change if you've been someone that's ate out of emotion or craving. So it's really easy to eat meals on repeat. So I know, for example, I can make a overnight oats for breakfast and I can make four of them and that'll do my breakfast all week. And I know how much protein's in them and I know how much carbohydrates in them, etc. That's really easy for me. So I don't track or weigh unless it's a food that I'm likely to overeat on. And I do repeat meals, which just makes my prep really easy. I'm a really busy mum, I'm a business owner. Like for me, anything that I can grab and go, I will. And on the occasions that I've not been able to grab and go, I have an absolute obsession with salt and vinegar crisps. So I make sure that I'm not reaching for crisps or for anything convenient like that because I've already got my repeat meals done for the week and in the fridge or in the freezer ready to take out. So, what about you? Do you weigh or track anything?
No, I don't either. And that was something that I decided right from the very start. Again, I kind of wanted this to be my last attempt at trying to lose weight. And I wanted to live in a way that was going to be sustainable and that I could continue on forever and ever. And the thought of tracking calories for the rest of my life is just like absolutely not. So,
Hell
so I
no.
don't, no, hell no. So I don't track calories either. Um, I absolutely make sure to get a protein source at every meal.
hmm
Um, Instead of weighing, I eat off of smaller plates, so that helps a little bit with the portion control as well.
hmm
Um, and then again, like what something that I've implemented like through my GLP-1 journey and wasn't something I did before was like fermented foods. Like if somebody asked me to eat kimchi or sauerkraut before, I'd have been like, absolutely not, that is disgusting. But actually I love it.
Oh,
So
I love a kimchi.
yeah.
Like, yeah, absolutely. So good for your gut health.
Yeah. So every meal I always have my protein, my fermented foods, good sources of complex carbohydrates, all those kind of things. And I literally have whatever I want, but just make sure that I'm having getting those key things in.
Yeah,
Yeah. So no, thank
that's
you.
it.
I thought it was if whilst we went on to that subject, I thought it was important that we continued it because I know that it is something, I saw if anybody follows Amy and Half on TikTok, she posted something the other day where she was talking about GLP-1 might have got rid of the food noise, but now all we're hearing is like Ozempic noise where people are like, you have to get your protein, you have to get this, you have to get that. Da, 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 da.
hmm
And I think if you're getting all of your education and your information from social media, you can be led down the rabbit hole of just eating ultra processed protein sources. And if you,
Yeah. And do you know what? Do you know what I'm finding right now? I don't know if you find this too, but the information is so generic. Like
yeah.
I put up a post the other day because everybody's like, prioritize protein, prioritize protein, like this Ozempic noise, BS. And I'm like, you can say that till you're blue in the face, but nobody actually knows what that means.
Means.
And I had a
Hmm.
conversation with a client. And this is the whole thing about protein every eating opportunity, like pick a protein source, whatever you can. Um, but also I had someone say to me, "Oh, well, it's okay because I'm having collagen and I'm putting that in 2 drinks a day." And I was like, This is not a protein source. Now, collagen, just to be very clear on this, collagen is a protein, but it's not a whole protein. So you don't count it within your protein goals, right? It's a bonus, it's an additional, it's a skin, hair, and nails, nice to have protein source. But it is not a source of whole protein. We do not count it. It's a supplementary wellness thing that we add into foods or drinks or coffee if you're like us. Love it in a coffee, but it is not part of your protein intake. And this is why there's so much misinformation out there. And if you're relying on TikTok or Instagram or Facebook for your protein education, then here's where we're falling down because we've got so many people who are just on a weight loss journey, but they're not actually educated as health coaches, as wellness coaches, as nutritionists, as dietitians, as all of these things who are sharing food information, and actually a lot of it is wrong. So I just want to say
Here,
that.
here.
Hear,
Yes.
hear.
Say it louder for the people
Yeah,
in the back.
louder.
Yeah.
Um, okay, what's another myth that we can bust?
Um, so we're stealing it from the diabetics.
Oh, I love this one. Ha 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 ha. Um, do you want to go first in this, or do you want me to riff on it?
Um, you're primed. Go for it. I can see it. You're going.
I have a really big opinion on this. Okay.
Oh,
Now, the reason, bearing in mind that GLP-1s have been out for circa 20 years, and we knew that it worked really well for weight loss, right? But the reason that it wasn't trialed in Gen Pop for obesity was because they didn't think that an injection would be widely accepted. Now, we have to take this as an injection and not in tablet form because it has to go into the blood. It goes across the blood-brain barrier, etc., because it's something that works on the hypothalamus in your brain, etc., etc. Now, they didn't launch it as an obesity drug because they didn't think people would widely accept injecting themselves. Now, who's a population that it will also benefit that is accepting of injecting themselves because they've had to inject insulin is diabetics. That's why it was launched in the form it's in to diabetics as diabetic medication. Now, it's very effective at helping to stabilize blood sugar in diabetics. 110% it is. And we know that studies show that. But the studies were also done in obesity and weight reduction, and we know how effective it is in that too. So, no, it is not stealing medication from diabetics. It's just how it's being marketed to you by the general media, and it's being demonized that we shouldn't be using something like that for obesity. Remember that diabetes is a comorbidity result, specifically type 2 diabetes is a comorbidity result of the obesity disease. So surely it makes sense that we tackled the obesity. That's how I feel about it. So don't come at me with you're stealing medication from diabetics. Like, no, no, we are not.
interestingly, um, years ago, like talking like 15 years ago, maybe. Um, so my dad was type 2 diabetic.
Mhm.
And he was like my dad was a big guy. We always used to joke and say he was 6 foot wide and 6 foot tall. Like he was a big guy in every way possible. Um, and when they were looking at the various diabetic medication that he could go on, one of the things that they offered him like 15 plus years ago was something called lizard spit, which is like the first versions of the GLP-1 medications that we know of today. And what they had said to him was, go on, we're going to put you on this because it will also help you lose weight.
Mhm.
So, like, as you said, like this medication has been around for years and years and years for weight loss as well as to treat um, diabetes. So yeah, so my dad was
Yeah.
probably on one of the very first versions of a GLP-1, lizard spit.
Wow. I love that. I love that. But this is the thing, right? Who is the the morality queen enough to sit there and say that one ailment should be treated over another? And if you're having to pay for the prescription privately, which most people are, then it is up to you what you are paying for, what you are paying to be prescribed. We're not expecting it on the NHS, although I do think it should be more widely available. I think that would be a much better choice, but I am not the health secretary. Um, but I do think that would be a much better choice in terms of preventative measures, and stop the longer term obesity, degenerative diseases, and comorbidities that come with it. However, um, it is what it is, right? But yeah, I don't believe that anybody's stealing medication from anybody else. I believe it's fair game. And I think if you believe that, then you have been sold an absolute bogey by the media. And I feel bad for you that that's what you believe. Um,
Yeah.
anyway, moving on. Next myth. Um,
When you,
the you go.
I was gonna say when you come off, you'll regain all the weight, which we've kind of touched on.
Yeah, but let's touch on it more. So, when you come off of this, there are studies that show that you will regain weight. Okay. There are also studies that show, one in particular that was done on tirzepatide, which is Mounjaro, that shows that actually 93% of the patients that were studied within a long-term 3-year tirzepatide study, 93% of them maintained their weight loss, and weight loss was circa 22 to 25% of original body weight, right? So people can maintain this. However, the ones who I worry about are the ones who do not educate or get the necessary support for nutritional change, for exercise and lifestyle components, and for body movement. And most importantly, I'm always going to be on this, is the psychology element of it. The people who are not changing their brain and rewiring their relationship with food on the way, because when that food noise comes back with vengeance, which it will if you come off the medication, then you will go straight back very quickly into previous eating habits and cravings. That is my opinion on it. So I believe with diet and lifestyle and psychological support, that you can actually maintain a really healthy weight at the other end of this. But we also know that studies show that actually those who struggle with obesity should be on it for life, because it's the
Yeah.
whole thing of, if you have high blood pressure, you're diagnosed with hypertension, you don't just get medication, stabilize the blood pressure, and then, oh, you can come off it now. Like, that's not how it works. So we should be treating this the same with obesity. But because we're not, and people are coming off it or they can't afford to stay on it longer term, then I believe that success can still be had with the right support and education. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I think um in order if you're going to come off of the medication, because I appreciate it's expensive, so not everybody can afford to, like, whilst we're paying it privately, not everybody can afford to be on it for life.
Hmm.
So if you can only be on it for a short time, that's even more so important to be, as Nicole's mentioned, prioritizing all of those additional changes and getting those foundations in place to set you up to be able to continue losing if that's what you want to do or to maintain.
Yeah.
But I completely agree with you in terms of treating it as a obesity as a disease, and um, if you need to stay on it to treat that disease element, then absolutely.
Yeah. Love it. Love it. Love it. Now, What would what would you say to someone who was afraid of gaining all the weight back? Because I hear this all the time. I hear people say, "Oh, I don't want to go on that because as soon as you come off it, you'll just gain the weight back." Or you and I have had conversations about the real fear of coming off it and gaining all the weight back. What would you say?
It is a fear. Like it is a
Mm,
fear. Like,
it's
I
valid.
yeah, completely. Like I have wanted to lose weight all my life, and I wake up every day thinking, have I just dreamt this? Or, you again with the scale trauma, you stand on the scales and think it's gonna show over 15 stone again.
Oh my
Um,
God, I said this the other day. I was like, when you stand on the scales and you literally think this is all too good to be true.
yeah.
I'm just gonna wake up from this dream and my scale's gonna say like 14 stone or something like that. And yeah, it's such
Yeah,
a fear.
but you know how sometimes you stand on the scales and then it gives you like a different reading and then it kind of like settles itself.
Yeah.
Well, I sometimes think, right, it's going to settle itself back to the 15 stone, like it's not really.
Yeah.
Um,
Surprise!
surprise,
Just
you were
kidding.
joking. I've really just been run out of batteries for the last year.
It's all been a dream.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, the fear, like absolutely, the fear of gaining it back is there, but as we've said, it's like take the time, use it as a tool, put all of the steps in place, do the deep inner work as well to understand like what some of your triggers are, um, and hopefully that's going to kind of set you up for future success as well.
Yep. Completely agree. Completely agree. Okay. Any other burning myths before we wrap this up? Or any funny ones that you want to share that you've been told?
Oh. I had one on the tip of my tongue and now it's gone.
Oh, well, I remember I got told one that, oh, you'll grow a tail.
Oh,
Do you remember that?
I kind of have. Do you know,
Because
like
you've no
obviously we
body
all have,
fat.
yeah, like we obviously all have a tailbone, right? But I swear it's not meant to be as low down as it is.
But it's also because you've never felt it in years, right? Because you've had that additional layer of love.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah.
I actually, I don't know about you, but I've grown an inch since
Have
losing weight.
you?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, I'm not even measured myself. I just think I'm 160 centimeters. I
Yeah.
need to measure myself today and sense check this.
And so like I don't know like obviously my bone like I've not grown, right? Like it's not like there's a myth in itself. Take GLP-1 and you'll grow foot like
We're starting rumors here.
but I think what's happened is because I've lost so much weight in my chest, I'm
Mhm.
standing taller.
Yeah.
And that's where I've gained the height. But I've definitely what I have noticed is when I'm sitting, my posture is so much better because again, like unfortunately I have lost my bum. Um and so to get comfortable, I have to like sit properly on my sit bones and not
Hmm.
like slouch.
Yeah. The problem is real sitting when you have lost the butt fat for sure. Um,
Yeah. I tell you what's worse is sitting on a toilet pan.
oh my goodness, do you ever feel like you're just going to fall down it?
Yeah, and they're really uncomfortable. Like, it's got to the point where actually I get quite excited when I find a comfortable toilet seat. And let me tell you, the one at home is not comfortable.
Right? Oh, I
Yeah.
love this. I love this. And it's so, so true. Um, okay, so we're going to wrap this up. I want you to have a think about any crazy myths that you have been told about GLP-1 because, and come chat to us about it, right? This is your body, this is your health, it's your choice, and it's important that we can together have an open and honest discussion. I had somebody in my DMs just yesterday say to me, I am on this journey. I have lost 1 stone in 9 weeks, which is a really healthy, slow way to do it. And she said to me, I would never have done this had I not heard you speak so openly and honestly about it. And I would have believed all of the crazy myths that I heard online. So I just want to thank you for being who you are and talking about it. And that for me, that point, getting a message like that is better than any other message. I mean, I get client messages all the time say I've lost this weight or I've lost that or I've done that, and all of these non-scale victory wins, which are phenomenal. But to have someone say, actually, I'm changing my life because you dared speak out about something and dispel some myths that I was terrified of is phenomenal. So I just want to say the more people that we can speak to about it, if you have a fear, if you have a myth, if you have something you're not sure of, come chat to us or speak to your healthcare provider or your prescriber if you're on that journey already. But definitely let's chat about it more. So, anything you want to add to that, Mariam?
Um, like Nick said, yeah, our DMs are always open, so come and share anything with us. But if you have enjoyed this episode of the U Lounge, then we would be so, so grateful if you would like and subscribe, and if you would share it with a friend or family member that needs to hear this as well. Yeah,
Well,
we would
someone
be
who needs
super
to grow an
grateful.
inch, right?
Yeah,
Anybody who wants to get taller, listen to this episode.
exactly.
Um, But yeah, 100%. And also, if you have any crazy myths that you've been told, please let us know because we might just feature them in a future episode, right? It all gives us good ammo to make sure we are helping where we can. So, like, subscribe, and remember, until next time, live life on your terms. If today's episode spoke to your heart, your soul, or your mind, please share it with a friend who needs to hear it too.
We'd be so grateful if you could follow, rate, and leave a review. It helps more incredible people like you find this space.
Until next time, keep putting yourself first, and remember, it's time to live life on your terms.